In the cold night in Lagos, Nigeria, Hassan drove through the heavy rainfall, eager to get home to his daughter Amara, who was home alone. His best friend, who saw the frustration of Hassan, said to him, "Why don't you marry and get someone to take care of your daughter and your home? As a matter of fact, you are not getting any younger, my friend." Ransford had known Hassan for 15 years. After the death of his wife, none of his relationships he engaged in had amounted to anything. Hassan replied Ransford in a serious tone, "None of the women I bring home treat Amara better. My daughter is my everything in life. I love her and would not tolerate anyone maltreat her. I would rather remain single," he said with a tone of finality that shut Ransford up. Hassan drove hurriedly just to get home to his little princess and the most important person in his life. He saw his daughter as an angel, but in true actuality, she was the devil herself. Hassan sat on his bed at night thinking about Ransford and what he said. Indeed, he needed a companion to share his life with, and also for Amara's sake. He dialed the number he had been contemplating whether to call or not. "Hi, Sarah. I want to spend the weekend with you and my daughter," Hassan said to the other person on the line. Hassan had been seeing Sarah for quite some time. She was lovely, a lady who barely said much, and with a good sense of humor. She was the good girlfriend and understanding one. Hassan had come to love her and hoped his daughter would too. The knock at the door was loud through the huge mansion. Amara furrowed her brows. She wasn't expecting any of her friends today, and her dad barely had visitors at home. With her raised brows, she walked to the door and opened it. "Hello, how may I help you?" Amara said with a rude and nasty attitude. But Sarah ignored it and said, "Is Hassan home?" Amara's heart dropped into her stomach at the mention of her father's name. She knew she was her dad's lover. Before Amara could send her away like she had done hundreds of ladies already, her father came downstairs, welcoming the stranger and into his bedroom. Amara's eye turned red. She hated every woman in her dad's life. Sitting down in the living room sofa, biting her lips, she devised a plan to send this one away. She knew Sarah was going to stay longer because of her travel bag. Amara said to herself, "I would not share my dad with no one. Like the other ladies, this one too would go." She gathered her thoughts and retired to her room for the night. Amara began her Saturday with the first part of her plan. She came down to a set table of breakfast with the house smelling heavenly. Hassan sat at the dining table with a big smile that made Amara really angry. Hassan, on seeing his daughter, gestured for her to sit at the table that was made for her. Hassan said to Sarah, "Meet the reason for my being, my lovely daughter, Amara." Sarah, with a genuine smile, said to Amara, "Hi, I'm Sarah, your dad's friend." Amara ignored Sarah completely. Sarah just smiled and went on to finish her breakfast, convincing herself that their relationship would get better over time. Amara's concern became a reality as her father, who usually would stay with her at the living room playing games or getting ice cream, which was their usual Sunday ritual, remained in his room with Sarah throughout the day and barely glanced her way or gave her the attention she usually got. This infuriated Amara a lot. "I have to do something, and fast," she whispered to herself downstairs, interrupting her sleep. She rushed downstairs but was met with a lover's fight with a sofa pillow. Her dad seemed so happy. Amora's anger shot up another level. "I will end everything this evening," she said to herself, returning to her room. Cooking in the kitchen, Sarah smiled at how happy those 2 days had been for her. She had come to love her son since they met at the office conference in Dubai and exchanged contact. Sarah, lost in her thought and daydream, Amara walked up to her with a vicious smile. Sarah smiled back, not thinking of the worst, as Amara picked up a bowl of grounded pepper that Sarah was about to use in the preparation of her food and dumped the hot sauce blend all over her head and began to yell. Hassan came running down the stairs at the sound of Amara's voice, while Sarah stood before her, dumbfounded. This was the first time in her life she had seen an evil, malicious child. Hassan yelled at her, asking, "What happened?" Sarah, out of shock, could not utter a word. "Daddy, she dumped the hot sauce all over my head," Amara said with the tears flowing down her cheek. Hassan had not heard the side of Sarah, but had taken his daughter's side. "I am going to help her wash this pepper off her body. Be sure to be out of my house before I return." Sarah packed her clothes with tears running down her cheeks. How could a child with such innocent face be this evil? Her mind raced with so much thoughts and questions, unable to believe what just happened. She would have doubted herself too if it didn't happen right before her. Descending the stairs, Amara sat comfortably on the sofa, watching a channel, laughing. Sarah knew her laughter and excitement was because of her leaving and not from the cartoon characters she was watching. She walked up to her, with Hassan not in sight, and said, "Continue with this act. One day will be a bad and ugly day for you." Amara laughed hysterically and replied Sarah by saying, "I just won, so hurry and just leave. No one wants you in this home anymore." She threw a couple of naira on Sarah mockingly, still laughing. Amara continued her act till her dad had no one to call his own, driving every single woman away from her dad's life until she met the one who turned her life upside down. Nora. She wasn't like the girls she had turned away or the ladies she fabricated lies on. She was calculated, smart, and vicious. Hassan came from work one day and introduced Nora to Amara. "Nora, this is my beautiful girl I told you of, Amara." Nora smiled at Amara, but her smile did not reach her eyes. Not the friendly kind of smile that the girls that usually come to her father's home gave. This smile was not genuine. On her first night in her house, Nora sneaked into Amara's room and watched her silently while she slept. Nora knew how Hassan adored his daughter and was ever ready to play her game. Amara was at the kitchen planning on how to remove Nora like she had did hundreds of other women. "A penny for your thoughts?" Sarah said with a vicious smile, looking at Amara. She knew the kind of kid she was after all. She was a psychologist. Amara took the warm water on the stove, about to dump it all over her and her dress. Sarah quickly snatched the water and poured it all over her instead and began yelling. It was Amara's turn to be shocked. She beat her at her own game. Hassan came down with the speed at the scream of Nora. "She dropped the hot water all over me. Whose kid is this?" I just wanted to befriend her, Nora said, running out of the house in tears. Hassan realized his daughter had been sabotaging all his relationships. Disappointment washed over him. Realization hit him how his daughter had been the one manipulating him all along. Amara, how could you do this? Dad, it wasn't me, she tried saying, but her dad cut her off. Her father had stopped believing in her innocence. Hassan later married Nora. Despite all her maltreatment towards Amara, her father never believed her.